The Elegoo Centauri Carbon has been an extremely popular printer right now, especially for a Core XY enclosed printer coming in at $299. That is really hard to beat. It is a great deal. And I want to preface this video by saying I have one and I love it. And I definitely recommend you buying one because it just works. But before you dive into buying one, especially if you're going to be using this for a print farm situation, there's some things that I think you should weigh in on your decision on if you want to go with this or not for a print farm or somebody that's just having multiple printers for projects, because there are some drawbacks to it as well. Not necessarily because of the price point, because I think Elegoo kind of rushed this printer and didn't maybe anticipate how popular it was going to be. So to start the video, I definitely think you should get one, but there's a few things that you should think about first, and those are obviously just the availability. Right now, if you were to go onto Elegoo's website and get one right now from them, you're looking at about August 15th before it ships, possibly. And depending on your country where you're from, that might be different. But here in the US, at least for us, it's saying that it would ship sometime before August 15th. And as of recording this, it is June 18th. So that is kind of some time to wait for a printer, especially if you need it for a business purpose or to grow your print farm. That's something that you're going to have to sit and wait on, because you do have to pay for it now, but then wait for it to be shipped. Now, I know there's some people that were lucky like me and have found them at a local micro center. However, at least the batch I got and some other people that have got them from up there aren't the updated ones with the updated lights and the port for the AMS system or their multicolor system, whatever they're going to call it. But everybody that's been receiving them lately from Elegoo have gotten the updated versions with those two options. So if you find one at Micro Center, that's great. I would highly recommend picking it up, but just note that it might not be the updated version with the newer LED light and the port for their future multicolor system. So aside from just the availability of this printer in general, the other thing you want to consider are the parts availability for this thing in case anything happens. If something breaks or you need to replace a part, you can't just go on Elegoo's website and order one and have it shipped to your house within a week. Right now, the only parts that they have listed on their website for this machine are some additional hot ends, but they are not shipping for quite a while. The 0.2 and 0.8 millimeter nozzles are shipping sometime mid to late August, and then the 0.4 and 0.6 millimeter hot ends aren't shipping until mid-September. That is quite a while to wait for a hot end, especially if yours breaks. Your printer is going to be down until this gets delivered, hopefully within that time frame, if not longer. And I see a ton of videos on TikTok and short form of people's nozzles getting clogged and bad things happening. And it's like, man, if that happens with this machine, you're kind of screwed and it's going to be down for a while. And honestly, those are the only parts listed on their website. There are no extruder parts. There's really no other parts available for this machine if it breaks down that I can see that you can go purchase. Maybe if you reach out to Elegoo, you'll have some luck. But as far as going on their website and actually purchasing any spare parts that you want to have on hand, there's really no option for that. So if you're running a print farm, you definitely want to have spare parts aside just in case that printer breaks down. You don't want to have it sitting out of commission for a while. But in this case, if you load up a print farm with the Elegoo Centauri Carbons, who knows when you're going to be able to find parts. So I think that's one thing that you need to consider is just the parts availability. Whereas with my Bamboo Lab A1 series printers, I have a ton of parts for those. I have tons of hot ends for those things and spare parts. And I know I can go to Bamboo's website, order whatever part breaks on that machine and have it within a week and get it back up and running. And I know there's a lot of controversy with Bamboo Lab right now and the prices and all that stuff, but I love those machines because they work, they do the job, and there's a bunch of parts available for them, not only from Bamboo Lab themselves, but from third-party companies as well. Now, there might be some Amazon companies that are starting to come out with parts for the Elegoo Centauri Carbon, but me personally, especially when it comes to critical parts, I definitely want to buy from the manufacturer just because you never know what you're going to get with the stuff on Amazon. Now, places like BQ, they make great stuff for the Bamboo Lab printers, but they don't have anything listed for the Elegoo Centauri Carbon at this point yet either. And to go along with that, another thing to consider is their multicolor system. We've all been waiting for that. They've announced that, hey, we have plans for these probably sometime later in 2025, but we don't know what that is. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know if it's going to sit on top of the printer. We don't know if it's going to sit on the side. We have no idea. If you're someone that's buying this in hopes of getting that multicolor system, you might want to plan on waiting quite a while, because if it's anything like their printer release, yeah, they might release them and have a batch that goes out here and there, but we could be waiting a long time for those now, especially since there's like hundreds of thousands of these printers that have been ordered by people. Most of those people are going to want to buy the multicolor system as well when it comes out. And I have a feeling it's going to be just like this printer, to where they're going to list it for sale, but it's going to be back ordered for quite a while. And that's hoping it doesn't come out with any bugs. That's another thing about new printers coming to market. There's always bugs that they have to fix and tweak. I've been seeing a lot of that with the FlashForge 85X. They kind of rushed that to the market and have been also having some more issues with those and having to change things, which then you have to wait for the new parts to come in to kind of fix that stuff. And then there's just more issues that keep popping up. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case with Elegoo. Like I said, my printer has been running great. I haven't had any issues with it yet, and hopefully it stays that way. But when the multicolor system comes out, we'll just have to see how that is integrated, especially with the batch of printers like the one I have where it doesn't have that port for the AMS. I reached out to Elegoo to see how they were going to address that and haven't received a response. If any of you guys have any idea or have reached out to them and received a response, let us know, because I'm interested to see how that printer is going to be adapted to allow that AMS system or multicolor system once it's available. Another thing that you'll want to consider with this machine is it does vibrate quite a bit. I don't have any other enclosed printers to kind of compare it to, so I don't know how much those vibrate, but especially compared to my Bamboo Lab bed slingers in there, it does vibrate quite a bit. I did put on the anti-vibration feet from Elegoo, and it seems to help a little bit, but definitely not completely get rid of the vibrations. Is it a deal breaker? No, because 3D printers are going to vibrate, but just something to consider, especially if you're going to put it on something flimsy. You might want to have another option for that, because it is going to vibrate quite a bit. So a flimsy IKEA shelf or something that's like MDF or particle board might not be the best for it, but the feet do help, but it's not a night and day difference. Now, the last thing that I found on this machine that you want to think about as well is just the noise. This thing is loud. Again, I don't have any other enclosed printers to compare it to, but compared to my Bamboo Lab A1 bed slingers, it is extremely loud, to where I can have all three of my Bamboo Lab printers going at the same time in my print room, and I have a desk in there where I work from and stuff like that. And with those going out all at the same time, I don't notice the noise. It's not very distracting or anything like that. Like, it's kind of background noise. It's not a big deal. But as soon as I get that Elegoo Centauri Carbon up and going, oh my God, it is loud. And I'm not saying like a little bit louder, like it is significantly louder. All right, so I got the microphone here, and I have my three A1s going, A1 Mini over here, and they're printing. And I have all noise cancellation off on the microphone, but I still don't know how well this is going to show up. But this is kind of what it sounds like with me sitting here and having these things going on in the background. Pretty doable, like not distracting at all. It's just normal kind of background noise. All right, now everything's going. Right now I've got the Elegoo going and everything else. You kind of hear the noise in here. The fans on the back of this have not turned on yet, so it's not that bad. But this is with the door closed, and we'll open it. Kind of hear the sound noise there. But as soon as that auxiliary fan turns on, it is definitely noticeably louder in here. And this is with the door shut. And this is with the door open. Now you can come in here and turn the fan on and off. So I'll go ahead and just turn it off. And it becomes much quieter. So I don't know how important it is to have that fan on. If you're doing just PLA and PETG, it might not be an issue. But if you're running other stuff that's a little more toxic or needs to keep the heat in the chamber, that might be something to be aware of too. Is having that fan on is definitely going to cause it to be significantly louder. And that's something to consider if maybe you live in an apartment. So if you have thin walls in your apartment or just neighbors that hate noise, you might not want to put this next to a wall that you're sharing with your neighbor, because they will definitely hate you for that. because they will hear it. Now, maybe out there somewhere, there's some replacement fans that will make this thing quieter. As of right now, like I said, Elegoo doesn't have anything available. Maybe there's some third-party companies that you guys know of with some quieter fans, but as of right now, there's not something that's easily available. And honestly, I bought this thing just because I want it to work. I don't want to have to sit there and tinker and replace different parts and stuff like that. So if you're looking for a quiet printer, this might not be the one for you. So those are just some things to think about and weigh when you're trying to decide on if you should buy this, especially if you're going to be using this for a print farm. Hopefully, as time goes on, more parts will be available. People will get their stuff a lot sooner. I just think they didn't quite plan on them being this popular and getting so many orders to where they're really behind at this point. So let's hope when they come out with that multicolor system, they're building up a whole bunch of those so they can basically have one for everybody that owns one of these printers, but we'll see. But for the price of $299, this is a great printer. It is really hard to beat that. I honestly don't know how they manufacture these at that price. Bamboo Lab needs to take some pointers from that and hopefully lower their stuff as well. So hopefully you found some of that information helpful. If you guys like this video content, hit that like and subscribe button so you can follow me on my journey 3D printing and running a 3D print business. Until the next video, go ahead and check out these videos right here.